Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And as you all can see, I am live inside of Lucas Oil Stadium for day number 2 of on-the-field workouts for the 2025 NFL Combine. Really do appreciate your time, no matter where you are, wherever you may be. I really do appreciate you stopping by to talk a little bit about the New Orleans Saints. It's been a very eventful couple hours for me so far. If you're watching this live this morning, I took part in the press conferences. Today, you had the quarterbacks, you had the running backs and wide receivers speaking with the media. Got opportunity to talk to some high-profile draft picks, guys that's going to be hearing their name very, very early in the NFL draft, and also how that's going to impact the New Orleans Saints. But I want to give a special shout out to everybody that is in the chat right now. Shouts out to everybody that is watching this right now. If you're not in the chat, we're a very interactive podcast. All you have to do is put your comments in there. But I ask that everybody, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. But let's go ahead and get into it. I want to give a special shout out. Looking here at my laptop right now. Special shout out to Jerry. Shout out to Paul. Shout out to Cartel. Shout out to Timer. Shout out to Dalton. Can everybody hear me? I'm actually using a different type of microphone today, so I just want to I want to see if everybody can hear me. So this is like kind of a new thing that I got. So I just want to make sure everybody can hear me before I go any further than that. Just let me know. All right, so thank you for that, Cartel. I really do appreciate that, man. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. Like I said, the NFL Combine, you had some quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers speaking with the media today. The NFL Combine is going to kick off around 3. They let members of the media as well as fans inside of the stadium around 1 o'clock. And the on-the-field activities are going to take place at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Central. Really, really soon. Today, we're going to see the cornerbacks and we're going to see the tight ends. And we know that the New Orleans Saints, they can use cornerbacks, they can use tight ends, right? I mean, there were a few mock drafts that had the New Orleans Saints picking a tight end at 9 and Tyler Warren. But of course, you know, you got LSU's own Mason Graham. He's a part of this process, as well as a couple of more tight ends that I'm going to go ahead and read off the page here. So you got a few. Arroyo is from Miami. He is a guy that had a really good Senior Bowl. Also, Jackson Hall out of Georgia Tech. Yeah, really talented guy. I've been following since that game they played against Georgia. That was a classic. Bryson Nesbitt out of North Carolina. That's kind of my way. Living in the Carolinas, people pretty much keep up with him. Also, Joshua Simon of South Carolina. I mentioned Tyler Warren already. Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon is another tight end that is going to be taking part in the combine on today. And also the defensive backs. I mean, we know that the Saints, they're going to need some help there. You got B.J. Adams out of UCF. You got from LSU, you got Zay Alexander. You got Trey Amos. You got Billy Bowman out of Oklahoma. You got Denzel Burke out of Ohio State. And so many other cornerbacks that are going to be working out and trying to solidify themselves, solidify their positions, or even try to get a higher position with a really good workout. Look, I know there are a lot of names that are circling around when it comes to the NFL draft, being a top pick, but that doesn't mean that a really good workout and a really good combine will not help you. It can put you on the radar of a lot of teams, and it'll get you the attention that you feel like you deserve. But, of course, you got to be talking about the top 10 because the New Orleans Saints are picking in the top 10 as of right now. I mean, do we know if the Saints are going to move up, move down? Don't know. But I do know this. There are some names that are being linked to the New Orleans Saints. One guy in particular was T.O. McMillan. I've watched several drafts where you had, T-Mac out of Arizona, the wide receiver, 6'5", 214 pounds. I want to try to get this dude name right. Tetairoa McMillan, but T-Mac. He's a guy that a lot of fans are looking forward to seeing no matter what NFL franchise that you root for. I mean, this is a guy who has a really big catch radius and a guy that can provide that big body and demand a double team. He spoke a little bit to the media. I got a clip here of him speaking with the media. I asked him a question. I asked him about mirroring his game. Who does he mirror his game after? And also, did he speak to the New Orleans?
No one specifically currently that I looked up to or model my game after, but I can say in the past, it's definitely been Larry Fitzgerald.
Have you spoke to anybody from the New Orleans Saints?
Yes, I spoke with them.
Were you playing?
I don't think I like that. He had to think about it. I don't know if that I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. You had to think about it. Although I didn't really ask him, was it formal or informal? Formal is basically like, you arrange a time in order to sit down and kind of discuss the X's and the O's and get to know the player as a person. Informal is just like you walking down the hallway or something like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm a big fan of you. You do a really good job, but I didn't really, expound on it, but it didn't really seem like they really met formally. I feel like he probably would have had more to say about that, but regardless, I mentioned that he would be a great addition to the New Orleans Saints. Being alongside Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, that would be a really good combination. So if they can add him, he can be that big body guy. And I think guys like Shaheed and Olave would be able to eat quite often. There was a name that was linked to the New Orleans Saints, Ashton, Jeanty, the running back out of Boise State. And a lot of people's eyes felt he should have won a Heisman. I mean, he put up a historical season in college football, putting up numbers I don't think you're going to see for a very long time. And, of course, his name linked to the New Orleans Saints because of the way that he plays. And it also helps that, the head coach of the New Orleans Saints is a Boise State Bronco great himself. So I asked Ashton about, him meeting with the New Orleans Saints and also, what would it feel like in order for him to play alongside Alvin Kamara and being able to align himself with somebody that's a legendary Boise State figure like himself.
Be dope. I mean, growing up watching Alvin Kamara play, taking some things from his game. I think we're very similar in our, contact balance and, also Kellen Moore, being a former Boise State Bronco, that would be a great opportunity.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a guy that has a lot of talent. I mean, if you look at the NFL draft profile, they're comparing him and his skill set to LaDainian Tomlinson. And some of you probably a little bit too young to realize how great LaDainian Tomlinson was coming out of TCU. He came from a smaller school. I mean, he did nothing but, break the NCAA record for rushing yards in a game one time. I mean, 408 yards before it was broken a couple times throughout the years. But we know what LaDainian Tomlinson was when he was in the NFL for some of the OGs out there. And maybe you was probably crawling around, your grandma's living room or your mom's floor, and you didn't realize that. But when you're being put in the same conversation with LT, you're doing something right. And Ashton Jeanty, I got opportunity to kind of, follow him around the room a little bit. With those interviews, it was a little bit more formal. You got to kind of button it up a little bit. But, as he was walking around, he started to interview with different people, whether it was, they just wanted to show his funny side. You really seen like he is a character and he's a guy that is going to be like, because, he seems like he's really approachable, and it seems like he really is enjoying the process. There's a lot of running backs that are going to be in this year's draft that are going to make an impact. This is a deep draft at other positions. I know quarterback has been talked about and scrutinized because it doesn't feel like you have those franchise quarterbacks, those quarterbacks in the next 5 to 10 years. You're going to be talking about 5 years, they're the face of the league. 10 years, they're approaching legendary status. But when you look at the running back position, teams are going to get some really good running backs. When you look at the defensive line position, they're going to have a lot of teams that are going to get some impactful players late in the NFL draft. And I like the wave of the running back in the modern NFL. I mean, a couple of years ago, I came to the combine and, I asked, a few running backs about how they felt about the position and is it devalued? And, the running back energy was kind of low because we know that throughout the years, running backs have become kind of expendable, right? I mean, kind of use them, we can run them back by committee, not really trying to commit to them long-term when it comes to paying. But then all of a sudden you have Derrick Henry and you have Saquon Barkley and you have so many other running backs that have gained credibility and have been the leaders and the faces and have been the guys that have carried the team throughout the last couple of years. So the reputation of the running back is starting to get back to the days that I can appreciate, growing up when Emmitt Smith was out there and Thurman Thomas. And, you really relied on a running back to do his job. And I got opportunity to speak to one running back that I hold in high regard, and that is running back out of Oklahoma State, Ollie Gordon II. Now, Ollie Gordon, before the 2024 season, he was that running back that everybody was talking about. I mean, he was even kind of featured on the latest NCAA football game. I mean, everybody thought that he was going to be taking 2024 by storm. But all of a sudden, Oklahoma State kind of went through some hardships, and his name kind of, got off the lips of a lot of people that felt that he will probably be a top running back. But this is a guy that you can probably get later in round, maybe like round 3, round 4, that is going to come to your team, and you can align him with a guy that you probably have as that catch the ball out of the backfield guy, and you'll have yourself a smash mouth running back. But I asked him about the running back position and it being devalued throughout the years, and this is what he said to me.
Throughout the years, the running back position been pretty much devalued. But as you can see, over the last year and a half, you see running backs like Saquon, Derrick Henry. It seems like the running back position is getting back to be, what teams need in order for them to find success. What are your thoughts on the state of the running backs in modern day NFL?
I feel like Saquon and Derrick did a great job this year bringing back, feelings back to the running backs. I feel like when they went out there and played, they showed out. They showed the versatility. You got Saquon going out, catching the ball, and being the leading rusher. I mean, you got Derrick Henry as big as he is, getting downfield, running and catching passes out the backfield. So I feel like they open up eyes to a bunch of GMs and things like that.
Ollie, when it comes to Derrick.
So, I mean, I'm very, very high on Ollie Gordon. Like, I think that this guy could be a really good running back for the New Orleans Saints. I mean, Ashton Jeanty, he's going to be highly touted. Maybe a team feels like his talent, his ability, what he does, they feel like they can add that to their team. I mean, you might even have a team that is aggressive enough to move into the top 10 in order to try to acquire him because of the talk that has been going on about the New Orleans Saints possibly drafting him and the element of Kellen Moore being the head coach. But if they don't, I mean, you still have some really good running backs. Like I said, Ollie Gordon is one of them. Trevor Etienne is another one. Donovan Edwards out of Michigan is another one. So the running back out of North Carolina, Marion, he is a really talented guy in his own right as well, man. I mean, so even if the New Orleans Saints don't get, Ashton Jeanty or somebody aggressively moves up in order to get him, or a team reaches for him and they feel like they can actually do something with him, the sky isn't falling, right? I mean, this is a very, very talented NFL draft, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the quarterbacks and the running backs and receivers can do on Saturday. And I'm also looking forward to today watching the tight ends and defensive backs take the field. Somebody is going to, lift their draft stock, and unfortunately, somebody draft stock might fall. So this is a very nerve-wracking time watching these young players out here, man. You can tell, like, when they run the 40-yard dash, they got their heads down. You can tell they're thinking and processing everything that's about to happen. You know, you got to put forth your best effort. You know, everything is basically being watched and followed, and everybody's doing it, you know, paying attention to it with a fine-tooth comb. That is very, very nerve-wracking. You know, I find it nerve-wracking asking questions to some of these guys. So I can only imagine, going out on the field and your production and what you do right now can decide if you catapult yourself into a certain bankroll or tax bracket, or you might find yourself having a lot of work to do in order for you to get to that point. But looking forward to seeing that today, and thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. And yes, I am at the NFL Combine. For those that just tuned in, I'm here right now, and just being a representative, being your representative of the people. That's what matters to me, being here to be able to give you that information. And for those that may have to cut out a little bit later and catch the show a little bit later, you can follow me on X throughout the entire NFL Combine workout today. For the tight ends and defensive backs, I'll be tweeting on social media and providing you with video and also tweets pertaining to certain players. If a guy doesn't run the 40 or he's not going to participate, I'll let you all know. Let me go ahead and read some of your comments here. Let's start with Keen Arthur. Keen Arthur says, hit the like button, subscribe to the SOTS on your way in. Well, I appreciate that, Keen Arthur. I would appreciate if everybody, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I hope that I'm providing you all with great content here. I'm going to scroll up. Let's see. I want Kyle Kennard. Yeah, I mean, I think he's talented. I think that's a talented player. I think that he can end up being like a really good fit for a team. But I honestly just feel like if you're not going to get Ashton Jeanty, a guy who can over the course of time end up like replacing Alvin Kamara, you're not going to find too many people with that skill set. There's a reason why Jahmyr Gibbs, reason why Bijan, guys like that end up getting drafted very early in the draft, because they're elite talents, right? I mean, if you're good or even borderline great, most of the time they'll probably draft you if you're a running back in the second or the third round. But Ashton Jeanty possesses a certain skill set that warrants him being drafted very, very high. And you still have Alvin Kamara, right? If you have Alvin Kamara, maybe you can get somebody that goes alongside him. Maybe something that you thought Jamal Williams would bring to the table. Maybe something that you thought Kendre Miller would bring to the table. And that's why I lobby for guys like Quinshon Judkins. I lobby for guys like Ollie Gordon, because that can be a change of pace and it can be a really good 1-2 punch. And if something was to happen to Alvin Kamara, knock on wood when I say this, these guys can come in and be those every down backs that you need. I mean, I talked to Ollie Gordon. This part wasn't on the interview, but he spoke a little bit about, how he puts a lot of emphasis on catching the ball out of the backfield. He talks about after practice, he catches like 100 balls, every single after every single practice in order for him to get better at, catching, so I think that's a plus, a guy that's trying to work on his craft, being a not only a physical running back, but also having style and finesse when it comes to pass catching as a running back. So I just think that the Saints are going to, it's not going to be the worst thing in the world if somebody aggressively moves up to Ashton Jeanty, or if the New Orleans Saints end up going with T-Mac, drafting him as a wide receiver. Like, I don't think it's the end of the world. Let's see. TJ, why are they still doing drills with gear on? They are going to wear it during the games, but not during the combine. That's a good question, man. I mean, I can't. I wish I could answer that, but I can't. I just think that it's mostly like for safety reasons and stuff like that. You don't want the guys to go, too hard. You kind of already know what they are in pads. Like, if you've been doing your homework as a scout if you've been doing your homework, as an onlooker, prognosticator, like you don't need these guys to put on helmets and shells in order for you to see what they actually have. And, I think that this is a way that you can actually see these guys, perform, practice, being able to, show their strength, being able to show their athleticism, without the restraints of, the pads. So I think that it is to keep these guys safe, and is also to be able to let them showcase their skills outside of their uniforms, man. So I mean, they are athletic guys, man. They're athletic guys. I mean, they're freakish athletes. I mean, watching a 340-pound man run a 4.9 or 4.8 like that's freakishly athletic, man. I mean, you got people out there that probably don't even weight that, and can't even run a 4.8 or 4.9. So it's pretty impressive, man. Yeah, like I said, you want to keep them keep them safe as well, I should say. Let's see. I have a funny feeling we will have a full roster with players in every position that will be utilized by the start of preseason. Well, Matt Drummer, I think that's the plan. I got opportunity. Shouts out, to the Saints reporters, out there. I got opportunity to speak with them and just ask them, what they thought about the team, and they said it was an exciting time. They thought that it was, extremely exciting to see the Saints actually kind of turn the page, not knowing what angle they coming from, but it just represents that change. And, if they can add some players to this team that can kind of fit what they're trying to do, I think it will be a plus. I think that it has been on record that the Saints want to be aggressive during free agency, more so than they have been in the past years. I don't know what that actually means. I don't know what that means when it comes to contract restructures or even letting some guys go. But I like the energy. I like what I'm hearing. I'm also liking what I'm seeing from Kellen Moore. You can talk about Derek Carr coming back, and I get it. People aren't big Derek Carr fans, and there's still questions about can he be that guy. But there's still a level of excitement. I mean, even if the Saints bring back Derek Carr, there's still a chance they may draft a quarterback. Or, who knows how long that leash is with Derek Carr if things aren't going in the right direction. I mean, we don't know. I mean, we just look at what it represents. We have been shortchanged for so long, right? I'm frustrated as a fan. It don't seem like they really want to change anything out. How are we going to get out of these uncharted waters, etc. But I'm going to give Kellen Moore, his coaching staff, an opportunity, and I feel like you should do the same thing. I think a lot of people should, just kind of pump the brakes. I think that, it's almost like past trauma is coming up and flaring up on Saints fans and how the team has looked over the years. And now every decision that fans don't agree with is kind of evaluated, looked at, with a fine-tooth comb. And, we just kind of, I guess panic. But I'm just saying, let's just see how this thing plays out. I agree with you, Drummer. I feel like they're going to have some really talented guys. And it starts with this draft. I mean, like I said, with Erin Summers, just speaking with her for a few minutes and, her level of excitement. The media team that I spoke with, their excitement. I mean, people are excited about seeing something and not seeing the status quo of New Orleans Saints. Like, we kind of knew what the Saints were going to do every single year, right? We knew that there was one, maybe two positions that need to be filled. Cornerback was one of them. I mean, I've done several shows around this time of the year where I'm talking about what cornerback the Saints can bring in, et cetera, right? But we don't know what the Saints are going to do. And every decision, for the most part, will end up being beneficial to helping the team get better. So only time will tell who they will draft, but rather it's McMillan, rather it's Ashton Jeanty, rather it's a defensive lineman, whoever they decide to draft, I feel like that will be a difference maker for this team, and I think Saints fans will be happy about it. Strolling down says, what are your thoughts about the offensive secondary with a new head coach, Kellen Moore, on chemistry, recipes, strategy, weapons, and next season? What about young players are working out for our team for real? Well, Jeremiah, that's a really That's a really good point that you're trying to make, paying attention to and putting emphasis on, the young guys. Me personally, I feel like the Saints are taking steps in the right direction when it comes to changing around the coaching staff, right? We talked about the concerns of the team and, not being able to develop players. So what we're seeing is Kellen Moore reaching into the college ranks. College coaches have a reputation of developing players and teaching them in order for them to learn to be better when it comes to technique, to teach them how to use their eyes, how to use their abilities and athleticism, right? Don't allow their athleticism to be used against them, but be able to kind of lean into what those players do best. So I think that is a plus. You get into the teaching aspect of being, a really solid football team. I think that you can end up being great. I think that is one of the main reasons why you have teams like the Green Bay Packers, Baltimore Ravens. I mean, I say this all over and over again. I sound like a broken record, but it's true. It's the reason why you see some of these teams draft really well, and you can see a fourth-round tight end in Tucker Kraft beat out a first-round draft pick and Luke Musgrave, and both of these tight ends, if you put them on any team, they're going to be impactful. Getting Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed. I mean, so many different talented guys that they develop when they draft them. And I feel like that is what's going to help the New Orleans Saints. So when you look at guys like Delonte Taylor, don't just look at him, and be like, there's nothing there. Or Kool-Aid McKinstry, all of a sudden he isn't locked down or isn't shutting down the field like Marshawn Lattimore has done throughout his time when he was with the Saints. You got to be able to be patient, but you also have to understand that the Saints need coaches that are going to come in that are going to teach these guys technique in order for them to build on that. Not only just build on, their athleticism, but also be able to build on their confidence. I think a lot of these young players struggle with confidence, not being able to see the field, not being able to be called on when it comes to opportunities. And you combine that with the fact that when you watch a player like Zach Bond, who leaves the New Orleans Saints and finds success, a part of them probably thinking to themselves, well, if they utilize me in a certain way that fits my skill set, I can possibly be what Zach Bond was to Philly. I can be what C.J. Gardner-Johnson was for Philly. I can be what Trey Hendrickson is for the Cincinnati Bengals. So it's all about building up these players' confidence and also teaching them and also giving them the confidence that they need in order for them to excel. So I think that it can start with this draft by bringing in some players, teaching these players, developing them in your system, and have them going out there and giving you immediate impact right away that can help this team turn the corner. That is what's going to get you out of this situation. I understand about the free agency and being a little bit more active, but what I don't understand is, not utilizing player skill sets and trying to make them something into what they are not. The breaks. Thank you very much for the $2. Says, try pumping us once in a while, fool. Thank you for the $2. I appreciate that. Oh, man. But yeah, I'm going to stroll up a little bit. The chat is really bouncing right now. We got 207 people watching this so far right now, and I appreciate all 207 people watching this. Could be doing something else on your Friday, but I really appreciate it. King Arthur says, TJ, I'm hearing Abdul Carter is injured and may have foot surgery. If this is the case and he slides to the Saints at 9, do you take him? Absolutely. I take him. I take him because if he was to get surgery, and I'm probably going to ask my guy, Dr. Jesse Morris, to come on the show for this. I gotta ask him to come on the show for this so he can explain that to me. Until Dr. Jesse Morris tells me it's not a good idea, I say draft him, okay? Because what I'm looking at is a guy that's probably going to miss, 6 to 8 weeks or not be able to practice 6 to 8 weeks. But what happens if he ends up, healing up completely? Like he ends up being an absolute bona fide certified dog. And, some team is going to reap those benefits of him being an absolute dog. And I understand the fear aspect, right? I mean, your general manager, if you're picking in the top 10, unless you're Mickey Loomis, more than likely you're a first-time general manager who is trying to set the tone, or you're a general manager that's probably on borrowed time. And if you don't get it right, then guess what? They're going to kick you up out of the door. So it's kind of tough there, right? But like I mentioned, Mickey Loomis pretty much made out of Teflon here. I mean, he's not going anywhere. The Saints are pretty much leaning on him to try to possibly get it right. So I wouldn't mind that, because Abdul Carter, if nothing was going on with him and nothing was happening as far as like needing surgery or even being talked about him having surgery, this guy could be the number 1 overall pick. So if you have opportunity to get the number 1 overall pick, why the heck not? You know, like, so I wouldn't mind that at all. I mean, I think that this is one of those situations where he can have a full recovery, and when he does, he will be an absolute animal for you and your team. I have heard some reports as well that he is going to try to give it a go at his pro day. You know, they're still trying to get a second opinion about what the next step is. He's not very, confident in, just going under the knife and everything just going to be okay. Like, he wants to make sure that this has to be a last resort. And this is the tough thing about the NFL Combine, man. Some of these guys have underlying conditions and they don't even know them about it. But when they take these physicals, I mean, they basically, evaluate them from the top of their head to the bottom of their feet, you know what I'm saying? Toenails. Like, they evaluate every single thing, because every team wants to get it right. They want to make sure that they have the guy with the right mental makeup, and they want to make sure that they have a guy that can absorb the physicality of the National Football League for years to come. But I like Abdul Carter, and if he's there at 9, I would say why the heck not, because he's a generational talent. He's a guy that's a freakish athlete, and if you're running a 3-4, you need somebody that's going to be able to set the tone, especially at the linebacker position. You can't be up in that thing tiptoeing, tiptoeing through the bro. You got to come through with it. You got to come through with the energy, and I think that he will be able to bring it every single Sunday if he was to be drafted by the New Orleans Saints. Not mad at it at all. Strolling down, somebody asked me, they said, did I see Sean Payton? Yes, I did. I did see Sean Payton. I seen him like I was finishing up my lunch, and the Marriott is connected to the convention center. So I go to the Marriott downstairs to the restaurant, and I'm coming back from eating, and the legendary Starbucks that everybody been talking about with Ian Rappaport, he was sitting in there, and I walked in, and I'm telling you, man, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. So he's sitting over there, man, and it's almost like the aura of Sean Payton. I mean, it looked like the sun was just beaming on his head. You know what I'm saying? And I like that with him, man. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. This is Sean freaking Payton we talking about here, man. So I was kind of taken back. So I looked at him and we locked eyes or whatever. And he kind of like looked at me and like he was kind of sizing me up there, man. Like I said, I don't know if he was, he thought your boy was out here, maybe he thought I was a free agent or something. But I mean, he looked at me like, man, I think I have a possession receiver right there. Made me feel like I can catch about 5 to 10 balls a game. You know what I'm saying? But it was pretty cool, to see Sean Payton in passing, man. Like I said, I don't be wanting to bother anybody, man. They're here for business. I'm here for business. It's pretty cool to see them in passing. But man, he tried to make the Denver Broncos the best team that they can possibly be, and I'm just trying to provide you all with the best content that I can possibly give you. So that was pretty cool, though. This is the second time that I've come to the NFL Combine that I've seen Sean Payton. Like I've seen him one time I was going up the escalator, he was coming down, and this time he just sitting casually, chilling in a Starbucks, I guess talking to one of his coaching staff. I actually seen his defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph, as well. So that was pretty cool, man. Pretty cool to see Sean Payton, the greatest New Orleans Saints coach of all time. I know, he's the biggest villain around New Orleans Saints fan these days, but not me. I appreciate everything. Sean Payton did for the Saints, especially during these hard times. TJ, how do you feel about Perkins from LSU that tore his ACL? It's unfortunate that Harold Perkins tore his ACL, but I think that he'll make a full recovery, man. This isn't like the days of Gale Sayers, or some of these other running backs where the ACL tear was a death sentence. I mean, modern medicine has improved tremendously throughout the years. So, him tearing his ACL is not the end of the world. I can understand how it could possibly affect his draft stock, but Harold Perkins, he's a dog in his own right. I think that he'll get back to being that dominant player that he can possibly be. And I think around this time next year, like he'll be able to, be here at the NFL Combine making a lot of noise. I'm in the building, TJ, who that just got in from cutting grass, listening to you. Do your thing. I appreciate that, Pelicans. I appreciate that very, very much. And man, cutting grass, man, is that time? Like, I thought like we still had a little bit more of some winter weather going on, because I already know what time of day it is. My wife, shouts out to her. I know she's probably watching this right now, but she was at Lowe's and she was like, I'm just looking at the lawn and garden section. I'm like, oh man, here we go. I got some rose bushes in that she done bought. Got some tulips I got to plant. Like, but I thought it was, still had a little bit of cold weather coming up, but we cutting grass. Oh man, that's my favorite time right there. I love cutting grass. Do you think Sean Payton? Let me see. Do you think Sean Payton for the Super Bowl? But also tell him he's wrong for suggesting Dennis Allen as the head coach. Man, you trying to get me tossed up out of here, man. We small potatoes, man. We small, we small potatoes. And even if we were big potatoes, I don't think I would say that, But I definitely would say this, man. Trying to get us tossed up out of here, folks. And man said, look, go to him and tell him what I feel. Like, nah, man. Look, man, it was pretty cool, man. Look, I don't have anything against Sean Payton. I really don't, man. Like, if you think about it, they have that old saying, like, if you stay around long enough, you'll stay around long enough to be the villain, right? But here's the thing, when Sean Payton retires and he's no longer coaching a team, like, everybody's going to talk about their appreciation they love for Sean Payton. Like, it's not going to be one of those situations where he's just going to be instantly despised for the rest of his life because he decided to step down and take on another chapter. Like, people are upset with him because he left, right? But it could have been one of those situations where the Saints kept on falling flat on their face and he ended up like having to part ways anyway, kind of like with Bill Belichick, right? All that goodwill, all those championships that he won out there in New England, only for him to have a couple of bad years and them going in a different direction. So, I mean, I just think that people are more upset because they got their heart broke by Sean Payton leaving versus feeling like he wasn't good enough to coach his team anymore. So with that, I appreciate Sean Payton and his contributions to what he has done for the New Orleans Saints. I mean, the reason why we feel so frustrated as the fan base, as Saints fans, we feel this way because why? I mean, because he set a standard when he was the coach. And now this team is trying to find that standard that he built. They're trying to find somebody to replicate that, or even catapult that, bring it a little bit higher. So how can you get upset with a guy like that? Sean Payton, thank you very much for $2. Says, I was starstruck by the host of the State of Saints podcast. I highly doubt that. Most people, like, and I'm not trying to be braggadocious, but most people that see me think that I play or have played football. There's at least 3 people that have walked up to me and thought I was Debo Samuel. I mean, I don't know where you get that from. I don't understand that. Like, I don't get it. But no, man. But most of the time, like, people will stare, because here's the thing, like, unless you like a high profile like NFL player, like, people don't recognize you. Like, yeah, football players that are walking all up and through here, right? But if they weren't like the face of their franchise or star on the team or something like that, you won't know who they are. So, a lot of people, they look at you, look at me and look at me as if they want to believe that I play football or something like that. I don't know. I mean, not a very small guy. I'm like 6 feet, 215 pounds. So, that's about the size that you probably gonna see most football players look like. But let's see. Oh, my bad. I thought he was entering this year. No, that's next year. Now, if it was this year, it definitely would be a bigger story. I mean, Harold Perkins is a really talented guy and has been since he stepped foot at LSU his freshman year. So that definitely would be a bigger story. 3 head coaches we got respect for in NOLA: Jim Mora Sr., Jim Haslett, Sean Payton, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, those are the guys that we respect. On my way to the doctor's office for a checkup, still listening. Well, Jerry, I appreciate it. Hope everything goes okay with your checkup, man. That's what it's all about, man. And speaking of which, I got to advocate for that, man. Make sure that you're getting your checkups, especially, guys that are getting up there in age. Now, it's good to get a checkup, man. No matter if you feel like you're in some really good shape, no matter if you are, you feel like you're a clean bill of health. Sometimes we just go to the doctor when we're sick. But sometimes, man, you got to make sure that you're getting those checkups because they find things. And I'm not saying this, but it's very important that you know what's going on with your overall body. And I advocate for that because, if it wasn't for me, being diagnosed with pneumonia, I wouldn't have knew that I was a type 1 diabetic. You know what I'm saying? I who knows how long I was walking around, dealing with that and didn't even really know about it. So, I mean, don't wait till it's too late in order for you to go to the doctor, man. So I thought that would be a good little PSA, Jerry talking about him going to the doctor there. Yo, bro, I can definitely see the reference to Debo. Man, I mean, I've heard Debo Samuel when I had dreadlocks. People thought, said I looked like Roddy White. Like, I don't know, man. People always trying to compare you to somebody. Like, but yeah, when I had dreadlocks, like back then, people really, like, seriously. I was at a store one time in Walmart standing in line, and this lady, she had to be maybe like in her 60s or something like that. She walked up to you like, "Excuse me, young man, are you Roddy White?" I'm like, "No, man." Like the way that she walked up to me and had that twinkle in her eye with that day, I wish, unfortunately, I'll never say this, unless one of these circumstances, but I wish I was Roddy White because she seemed like she really thought that she saw that man. she really thought she saw. For a second, I'm like, I wish I was at that Atlanta Falcon for you for one moment because she just looked like she saw somebody, man. But yeah, man. But I used to get those type of comparisons all the time. Says, see, TJ, I get that same football player comparison. That's that Southern stature. Yeah, man, get that all the time, man. I don't know, like, but yeah, I wish I could, man. I wish I did, play football longer. But hey, I enjoy talking about it. But I just find it funny, man. I just find it funny. Says, you did look like the boot boy, Roddy White. Y'all should see my uncle. That's the one that looked like Roddy White. Y'all think I look like when he had dread, he definitely looked like. Let's see, not that Falcon Roddy White, Debo. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah. I mean, I actually seen so I don't know if Roddy White was there for a visit or maybe a family member, maybe like one of his kids or something like that was on a recruiting trip. But I was actually at a Coastal Carolina game this past season, and he was on the sidelines, man. But I ain't really say nothing to him or anything like that, man. But I was like, I can kind of see how people can say that we kind of favor each other, but I don't think it's to a point where people need to stop me. Let's see, Roddy White's only fan ever, and he missed it. But look, man, Roddy White was a beast, man. I know we don't like the Falcons, but the man was good. He was talented. Now he was the torch to New Orleans Saints cornerback. Now we ain't gonna pretend like he didn't. But yeah, but for the most part, the Saints still will end up beating him. He'll have a really good game, go over 100 yards, and they end up losing anyway. But yeah, man, look, I got the information for you all on social media throughout this Italian NFL Combine. It's about to get started in the next, I'll say about 20 minutes, man. Let me see. I'm at 40% here. I didn't bring my plug for my laptop. So I'll answer a few more questions for the next few minutes. So if you got questions or comments that you want to put inside of the chat, please do so right now. I ask that you hit the subscribe button. if you enjoy the State of Saints podcast and the content. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit. I know I probably missed a few. Says Payton wanted to get some Saints appreciation from you, TJ. I mean, I appreciate Sean Payton. I ain't never had nothing against him. You know, I felt now. I did feel like, you know, the story that was going around about mental health and stuff like that. I feel like I don't know if I would have used that reference because, you know, a lot of people deal with mental health, and I feel like sometimes it can be looked at as a cop out, you know, because by mentioning that, it just automatically makes people stop, you know, pretty much evaluating you or trying to criticize you in certain things that you do. So a lot of people like, oh, you know, I was dealing with mental health, or, you know, I was dealing with this, or I was on this, you know. I mean, there are people that are really going through it, you know, and I just feel like it was in one of those situations where he just wanted to go somewhere else. And that's cool. Like, that's well within your rights, man. But I also think that, you know, you kind of, you know, use that to kind of alleviate some of the criticism. That I didn't agree with. Did Sean Payton have the Vince McMahon No Chance in Hell theme music when he was walking? No, he wasn't walking when I seen him today. He was just sitting down at a table. Like when he was walking, like last time I seen him when I was here, like he was just coming down the escalator. He was talking to one of his assistants or whatever. And you know, it was like one of them conversations where you don't want anybody to bother you, so I'm gonna just talk real close to somebody and act like I'm extremely, you know, enamored of what they talking about, so nobody can bother me. That's kind of one of really what I'm saying. Like, I'm gonna just talk to you like I'm really telling you something important, you telling me something important, so nobody will ask me anything. But yeah, man, I mean, he was sitting down, man, chilling, man. It was just cool to see old Sean Payton, man. Like, it ain't every day that you see like somebody that, you know, help the struggling franchise reach the ultimate goal here. You know what I'm saying? Hey, TJ, Sean Payton probably recognized you from your show. Nah, I doubt that. Nah, if he did, y'all ain't gonna be able to tell me nothing. But I don't think it was that. Like I said, man, a lot of people, you know, they look at you and they just want to see, you know, if they recognize you or, you know, like you favor somebody. Like, get that. I've been like getting that the entire time I've been at the combine. Like, you go into these restaurants and stuff like that, people kind of looking at you, you know, like, but I just think it was just that. TJ, subscribe because of your awesome content. I'm Bucks loyal, but you deliver. Have to. I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate you, you know, subscribing. Look, man, no matter what team that you root for, I like to pride myself on, you know, providing content that anybody can watch. I mean, I know it's Saints oriented, but I mean, I'm pretty knowledgeable about other NFL teams as well. But I like the fact that we provided a comfortable environment where you can have people come in, and as long as you're respectful and you have love for your team, that's all that matters to me. And you know, I appreciate you, man, for subscribing. I encourage any fan base, you know, to subscribe. You know, I mean, if we you know, playing your team that particular week, you know, it's all friendly banter. But you know, if I feel like that team is good and they're trending in the right direction, I mean, I'm definitely going to say it. I'm definitely going to you know, let it be known. You know, I ain't just gonna be hating for the simple fact hating. But yeah, I pride myself on providing content and giving content that everybody can enjoy. Also, want to give a special shout out to Jake, man. Jake, he was here on behalf of Saints Block Party, man. I had opportunity during the pressers to get in touch, you know, to talk to him and, you know, just to get some insight, man. I want to give a special shout out to the Saints Block Party, man. Brothers have, you know, a really good, solid platform over there, man. Good guys, work really hard, and that's something that I value and respect, man. So shouts out to them and their team. Shouts out to Jake, who I spoke with on today. That was pretty cool, man. Shouts out to Christian as well, man, a media personality with the New Orleans Saints, Aaron Summers. Like, shouts out to them. You know, they're on the ground right now covering, you know, the New Orleans Saints and the entire NFL combine. So they're doing a really good job knocking it dead right now. They were really friendly, really nice, you know, to talk to. So Just want to give them a shout out. Let's see, TJ, it's Tetairoa. Tetairoa? Okay, Tetairoa. Thank you, Madroom, because I butchered that, man. I tried to, man. I tried to pronounce it. Tetairoa, okay? Tetairoa McMillan. That's the reason why everybody called him T-Mac, right? That's the reason why. I see why. I mean, but I will say it's just one of those names that's like unfamiliar to you, because if you was to ask people now, like, how do you pronounce Fuaga's first name? Everybody knows Talese, right? I mean, but it's the fact that he's on the Saints team and you hear his name often, so he's part of the team that you like, so you kind of, add it to your vocabulary to pronounce his name. So if he was to get drafted by the Saints, I guarantee you I would know his first and his last name, and I don't think any Saints fan would struggle with it unless he ends up being an absolute bust, which I highly doubt he will be. TJ, with everyone's opinion about the Saints pick at number 9, is there any popular pick out there that you would avoid? No, no, I wouldn't. Because everybody that has been linked to the New Orleans Saints, everybody that people have talked about when it comes to the Saints, I can see them drafting. I mean, Ashton Jeanty. I mean, you can't. Ashton Jeanty, like you can't see the same draft in him. You can't see him making an immediate impact, right? McMillan, T-Mac. Yeah, I'm just gonna call him T-Mac. T-Mac, I mean, instant impact, right? Mason Graham, instant impact. Now, there has been some reports that the Saints have spoke to both Cam Ward and Shadir Sanders. I wouldn't be objective to either one of those gentlemen, but I gotta say this though, it was unfortunate, man. Jalen Milroe, he did speak to the media today, and not too many people went over by him, man. I don't know. I think there's some talent there. I think that you can probably put him on a team, be a late round guy. You can probably develop him, and he can probably be a decent quarterback for your team, man. But looking at these quarterbacks, Cam Ward, Shadir Sanders, I don't think either one of those quarterbacks are going to be there. The Saints will have to aggressively move up to try to acquire one of those guys. But the fact that they actually talked to him is telling to me. It's telling that they spoke to him, right? So that pretty much answers all of our questions when it comes to Derek Carr. Like, yeah, we're committed to Derek Carr, but we're committed to Derek Carr 2025. We ain't just going to be looking at, yeah, we got Derek Carr, so no need for us to look at quarterbacks. No. They have already showed you that, hey, we bringing you back, but we still looking for the future and looking to the future to find that next quarterback that can be on the team. Let's see. I take Shadir Sanders at 9 if he's available, but not Tyler Warren. I'll take Tyler Warren, man. I would take Tyler Warren at 9. I think the Saints can use a tight end like that. I think that, if you're comparing him to Brock Bowers, I think that's a little bit of a reach. Now, I could be wrong. We have this conversation in a couple of months, and you're like, oh, man, TJ, what you said about him? He goes out there and balls the heck out. But he is a physical tight end. He is a guy that could be a pass-catching tight end. And if the Saints don't get McMillan, you'll see if he gets drafted pretty early, which he could. There's a lot of teams that need wide receiver help, and he can be that number 1 for him. I mean, you look at the Patriots. I mean, Drake may need a number 1 receiver. I mean, you look at the Jets. They can possibly use him, and so many other teams. So, if you can get yourself a big body receiver and a guy that can block in the running game, then that would be a plus. But, I wouldn't mind that. And I definitely wouldn't mind Mason Taylor either. Like, since we're talking about him 504, that would be more like a late round pick. I'm interested to see what Mason Taylor is going to do. But these guys are going to be taking the field in just a few minutes. I'll give you up-to-date information pertaining to the NFL Combine. Once again, the defensive backs and tight ends taking the field, day 2 of on-the-field workouts here at the 2025 NFL Combine, right here in Lucas Oil Stadium, man. We up in this thing. All right, but thank y'all so much. Really do appreciate it. Once again, my name is Timothy J. Jones. Please follow me on X at TJAYJones8. Also, you can check out previous episodes right here on this channel, youtube.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. Also, check out Saints Talk with Timothy J. Jones on Bleacher Report every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure that you check it out. All right. Much love to y'all. I'll keep you up to date. Just keep following your boy. I'll be posting videos throughout the time. YouTube shorts will be on the way. Till next time, all I got to say is,
thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.